Welcome, everyone. Today we are talking about something that has destroyed more dreams than failure ever did. Procrastination. Not because you are not talented, not because you are not smart, not because you don't have goals, but because you keep delaying what could change your life. You know what you should do. You know what you need to do. You even promise yourself you will do it. But somehow, you don't start. Or you start and stop. Or you keep pushing it to tomorrow. And that is why this video is important. Because procrastination is not a small habit. It is a silent life thief. It steals your time. Then it steals your confidence. Then it steals your self-respect. And slowly, it steals your future. But listen carefully. This video is not here to shame you. It is here to free you. In this video, I will give you 3 things. First, I will explain the real reason you procrastinate in a very simple way. Second, I will explain what is happening inside your brain, also in a very easy way. Third, I will explain why you feel guilty after procrastinating and why that guilt keeps you stuck. And after that, I will give you a step-by-step system that is practical, powerful, and easy to follow, so you can finally stop procrastinating and start building your life. So stay till the end, because the solutions are not basic. They are real, and they work. And as you watch this video, you'll also improve your English listening because I explain everything in a very clear and simple way. If you want to grow your mindset and your English at the same time, make sure to subscribe and join this journey. The real reason you procrastinate, it's not laziness. Most people say, I'm lazy. But procrastination is usually not laziness. Procrastination is avoidance. You are not avoiding the work. You are avoiding the feeling that comes before the work. Let me explain in a very simple way. When you are about to do something important, your brain creates a small feeling of discomfort. It can feel like pressure, fear, confusion, boredom, stress, self-doubt. That feeling is uncomfortable, so your brain tries to escape it, and it finds something easy and comfortable. Scrolling, snacking, sleeping, watching videos, doing small, useless tasks. So procrastination is not the problem of time. It is the problem of emotions. You delay because starting makes you feel uncomfortable. And the brain loves comfort. That is why a person can do easy things all day, but delay one important thing for weeks. Not because they can't do it. Because their brain doesn't want to feel that discomfort. Now here is the hidden truth inside procrastination. Most procrastination has a fear behind it. Fear of failure, fear of doing it badly, fear of being judged, fear of realizing you are not as good as you want to be. So instead of starting and facing that fear, the brain says, let's do it later. That is procrastination. It is fear wearing a soft mask. The brain science. Your brain has 2 strong forces inside it. One part of your brain wants comfort now. Another part of your brain wants success later. Comfort now is always louder. Because comfort gives quick relief. When you do something easy like scrolling, your brain gets a quick reward feeling. So the brain says, this feels good. Repeat it. When you think about doing something hard like studying or working, the brain says, this feels heavy. Avoid it. So procrastination is your brain choosing a small comfort today, even if it creates a big pain tomorrow. This is why people say, I know what to do, but I can't do it. Because knowledge is not the problem. The reward system is the problem. Your brain has learned a habit. When discomfort comes, escape. Every time you procrastinate, your brain becomes better at procrastinating. Yes, it becomes stronger. Because the brain learns through repetition. If you repeat delay, delay becomes automatic. That is why procrastination feels like a personality. But it's not your personality. It is a trained pattern, and anything trained can be retrained. Why you feel guilty. After procrastinating. When you procrastinate, you don't just lose time. You lose trust in yourself. Because deep inside, you know, I could have done it. So when the day ends, you feel regret, stress, self-hate, disappointment. You start judging yourself. You start calling yourself lazy. And that guilt feels heavy. Now here is the trap. That guilt creates stress. And when you feel stress, your brain wants comfort again. So what do? You escape again. You scroll again. You distract again. You delay again. So guilt becomes fuel for more procrastination. This is why procrastination becomes a cycle. Task appears, discomfort, delay, temporary comfort, guilt, stress, more delay. And the longer you stay in this cycle, the more you start believing, I can't change. But that belief is not true. Because the problem is not that you are broken. The problem is that you have been living in a cycle. And cycles can be broken. But only when you stop fighting yourself and start using a system. Step 1. Make the task so small. It feels stupid. You don't procrastinate because the task is hard. You procrastinate because the task feels heavy. And heavy things create emotional resistance. When your brain feels something is big, serious, long, or difficult, it reacts like this. Danger, pressure, stress, avoid. So instead of starting, you delay. If you shrink the task so small that it almost feels silly, the brain stops resisting. Imagine you want to start exercising. You tell yourself, from tomorrow I will exercise for 1 hour every day. Your brain hears pain, sweat, tiredness, effort, time, discomfort. So what happens tomorrow? You feel tired, you feel lazy, you delay. Now change the approach. You say, tomorrow I will do 5 push-ups. Just 5. That's it. No pressure, no drama, no big commitment. The brain says, okay, that's easy. You do 5. Now you are already moving, and movement creates energy. Maybe you stop at 5. That's fine. But maybe you do 10. Maybe you do 15. Maybe you continue for 10 minutes. But even if you stop at 5, you win. Because you acted. You need to study for an important exam. Instead of saying, I will study 3 hours, say, I will open the book and read 1 paragraph. That's it. Open the book. Read 1 paragraph. When you remove the emotional weight, starting becomes easier. And starting is everything. Procrastination lives at the starting line. Once you cross the starting line, resistance drops. The brain loves completion. When you complete even a tiny action, your brain feels a small sense of success. That success builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence reduces procrastination. This is why small actions are powerful. They rebuild self-trust. Most people fail because they aim too big in the beginning. They try to change everything at once. That creates pressure. Pressure creates fear. Fear creates delay. So from now on, make this rule. If the task feels scary, shrink it. If the task feels overwhelming, shrink it more. Shrink it until it feels almost stupid. Because stupidly small action beats perfect intention. Every single time. Step 2. Eat the elephant. 1 bite at a time. Big goals are beautiful, but they are dangerous because when you stare at the whole goal, you feel overwhelmed. And overwhelm is the cousin of procrastination. You want to build a business. You want to earn more money. You want to change your body. You want to write a book. You want to master a skill. If you focus on the full picture, it feels like a mountain. Your brain starts thinking, this will take months. This will take years. This is too much. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? And once those thoughts start, action stops. Now change the focus. Instead of looking at the whole mountain, ask, what is the next bite? Not, how will I finish everything? Just, what is the next small step? Let's use a powerful example. Imagine someone wants to write a 200-page book. If they think, 200 pages, it feels heavy, it feels long, it feels impossible. So they delay. But if they say, today I will write 300 words, now it feels manageable. And if they write 300 words daily, in 1 year they have over 100,000 words. That's a full book. Now imagine someone wants to lose 15 kilograms. If they focus on 15 kilograms, they feel frustrated. But if they focus on, today I will walk 20 minutes, that feels easy. Small daily bites create huge results over time. Here is the deep psychological truth. Your brain can handle small tasks calmly. It cannot handle big uncertainty calmly. When you think too far ahead, anxiety increases. When anxiety increases, procrastination increases. When you think about only the next action, anxiety decreases. And when anxiety decreases, action increases. Whenever you feel stuck, ask yourself, what is the next best small action I can take right now? Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Send the email, open the file, do one push-up, read one page, make one call, just one bite. And once you take that bite, you will realize something powerful. Progress feels good, and when progress feels good, you want more of it. That is how you rewire your brain. From delay mode to action mode. Step 3. Remove the escape routes. Close the exit doors. When you sit down to work, is your phone near you? Are social media apps one tap away? Are notifications still on? Is YouTube open in another tab? If yes, then you are not fighting procrastination. You are inviting it. Here is the hard truth. You cannot win against distraction if distraction is easier than work. Right now, in modern life, comfort is too close. You feel 1 second of discomfort. Your hand moves, you scroll, you escape, and you don't even notice it. That is autopilot behavior. So instead of trying to become stronger mentally, become smarter physically. Change your environment. Because environment controls behavior more than motivation ever will. Imagine 2 students. Student A sits to study. Phone is next to him. Notifications are on. Friends are texting. Reels are open. Student B sits to study. Phone is in another room. Notifications are off. Desk is clean. Only book is in front. Who do you think will focus better? Not the smarter one. Not the more talented one. The one with fewer escape routes. That's it. Procrastination loves open doors. So close them. Practical actions. Put your phone in another room. Turn off notifications completely. Use website blockers. Clear your desk. Work in a quiet corner. Keep only what you need in front of you. Make distraction harder than work. Right now, distraction is easy. Work feels hard. Reverse it. If your phone is 10 steps away, your brain must make effort to reach it. And sometimes that small effort is enough to stop the escape. You don't need super discipline. You need fewer temptations. This step alone can change everything. Because most procrastination doesn't happen because you are weak. It happens because temptation is too easy. Remove the temptation. And suddenly, you look disciplined. Step 4. External push. Stop fighting alone. Many people say, I will rely on self-discipline. Willpower is weak when you are tired. Willpower is weak when you are emotional. Willpower is weak when you are stressed. So instead of relying only on inner strength, use outer pressure. Humans are social creatures. We move faster when someone is watching. We act stronger when someone expects something from us. Imagine you promise yourself, I will wake up at 6 a.m. and run. You try. You fail. You delay. Now imagine you tell a friend, tomorrow at 6 a.m., meet me outside. We run together. Now what happens? You feel pressure. You don't want to disappoint. You don't want to look weak. You don't want to be the one who didn't show up. So you wake up. Not because motivation was high, because accountability was high. Imagine, a freelancer struggles to finish work on time. He keeps delaying. Then he tells a client, I will send the work by Friday at 5 p.m. Now there is a deadline. Now there is external expectation. Suddenly, action increases. Why? Because consequences are real. When there is no external push, procrastination feels safe. But when there is accountability, delay becomes uncomfortable. So use that. Practical ways. Tell someone your goal. Post your commitment publicly. Join a study group. Work in a library. Use deadlines. Pay for a class. Work with a partner. Hire a coach if possible. When you invest money or reputation, your brain takes it seriously. Because now there is something to lose. And humans move faster to avoid loss than to gain reward. That is psychology. You don't have to be superhuman. You just have to create pressure in the right way. Let me say something powerful. Weak systems need motivation. Strong systems create action automatically. Step 5. Forgive yourself fast. Kill the guilt cycle. This step is underrated, but it is one of the strongest. Procrastination does not grow because you delay once. It grows because of what you do after you delay. Here is what usually happens. You plan to work, you delay, you scroll, you waste time. Then night comes. And inside your mind, a voice starts. You are lazy. You always do this. You have no discipline. You will never change. And you believe it. Now the next day, when you think about starting again, what do you feel? Shame, doubt, low confidence. And when confidence is low, the task feels heavier. And when the task feels heavier, you delay again. This is the guilt loop. Delay. Guilt, low self-belief. More delay. Now listen carefully. The problem is not the first delay. The problem is the emotional punishment after it. Strong people are not perfect. They just reset faster. Imagine two students. Both procrastinate for one day. Student A says, I'm useless. I'll never change. He feels bad. He delays the next day, too. Student B says, okay, I slipped. No drama. Restart now. He opens the book again. Same mistake, different reaction, different future. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is strategy. When you forgive yourself quickly, you remove the emotional weight. And when emotional weight disappears, action becomes easier. Here is a rule for you. Never waste 2 days in a row. If you procrastinate today, tomorrow is non-negotiable. No guilt, no overthinking, just restart. Because progress is not about perfection, it is about consistency. And consistency survives only when you stop attacking yourself. From today, replace self-hate with self-correction. Instead of, I'm terrible, say, I made a mistake. What is the next small action? That sentence alone can change your life. Step 6. Track completion, not time. Build self-trust. Again, procrastination destroys self-trust. Every time you say, I will do it, And you don't. Your brain slowly stops believing you. And when you stop believing yourself, action becomes harder. So how do we rebuild self-trust? Through completion. Most people track time. I worked for 2 hours. I studied for 3 hours. But time doesn't always mean progress. You can sit for 3 hours and do nothing. Instead, track completion. Ask yourself, what did I finish today? Let me give you a real example. Imagine a freelancer. He says, I worked all day. But at the end of the day, nothing is finished. He feels tired, but not proud. Now imagine another freelancer. He says, today I finished 3 tasks. Even if it took less time, he feels accomplished. Why? Because the brain loves completion. Completion creates a small success signal. That signal builds confidence. Confidence reduces procrastination. Here is how you apply this. Every day, write 3 small tasks, not 20, not 15, just 3. Finish them. Cross them out. That act of crossing something out is powerful. It tells your brain, I complete what I start. And slowly, that becomes your identity. You stop being someone who delays. You become someone who finishes. Let me make it even clearer. Procrastination makes you feel powerless. Completion makes you feel capable. And when you feel capable, you act more. That's how the cycle reverses. Instead of delay, guilt, delay, you create action, completion, confidence, more action. That is the new loop. Step 7. Practice mindfulness. Catch procrastination before it steals you. Most people think mindfulness means sitting quietly and doing meditation. No, mindfulness in this context means something very practical. It means noticing what is happening inside you before you escape. Procrastination is not a sudden accident. It has a beginning. It starts like this. You sit to do the task. You feel a small discomfort inside. Maybe fear, maybe pressure, maybe boredom. Then your mind says, let's do something else. And your hand starts moving toward the phone. Or you open a new tab. Or you go to the kitchen. Or you start some useless work. That is the exact moment where your future is decided. Mindfulness means you catch that moment. You become aware and you say, wait, this is procrastination starting. That awareness alone is powerful, because procrastination is strongest when it is invisible. When you don't notice it, it controls you. When you notice it, it loses power. Imagine someone sits to study. They open the book. After 30 seconds, the mind says, this is boring. Then the hand reaches for the phone. Normally, this happens automatically, but mindfulness changes everything. The person notices, I'm trying to escape, and then they pause. Just 5 seconds. They take one deep breath, and they say, okay, I don't need to feel good right now. I need to do the work. Then they return to the book. That is mindfulness, not meditation. Awareness plus control. The 3-second awareness pause. Whenever you feel the urge to escape, do this. 1. Stop for 3 seconds. 2. Name the feeling. 3. Choose the next action. Example. Stop. This is fear. Open the notebook and write 1 line. Stop. This is boredom. Read 1 paragraph. Stop. This is pressure. Do the 10-minute rule. When you name the feeling, it stops controlling you, because now you are the observer, not the slave. This step builds the strongest thing in life, self-control. And self-control is not born. It is trained. Every time you pause and return to your task, you train your brain. I am in charge. That is how you become powerful. Step 8. Do the next best thing. Stop waiting for the perfect move. Many people procrastinate because they want to do things perfectly. They want the perfect plan, perfect timing, perfect mood, perfect energy. And because perfection is not available, they do nothing. So, life stays stuck. Now listen carefully. Your goal is not to do the perfect thing. Your goal is to do the next best thing. The next best thing means the smallest useful action you can take right now. Not the full solution. Not the final masterpiece. Just the next move that pushes you forward. Because action creates clarity. Waiting creates confusion. Imagine someone wants to start a YouTube channel, a business, or a new project. They keep thinking, what should my niche be? What if I fail? What if people judge? What if it's not perfect? So they wait for months. Now they feel behind. Now they feel regret. Now they feel fear. Procrastination becomes stronger. But if they use the next best thing rule, they say, today I will write one video idea. Today I will create one outline. Today I will record 30 seconds. Today I will learn one small thing. That one action changes their identity. They become a person who moves. And once you move, your brain becomes less afraid. Because fear is strongest before action. Ask yourself, what is one small useful thing I can do in the next 2 minutes? Not tomorrow, not later. In the next 2 minutes. Write one sentence. Open the document. Arrange your desk. Send one message. Read one paragraph. Do one stretch. That question is powerful because it forces action. And action is the enemy of procrastination. Mindfulness helps you catch the escape. Next best thing helps you choose a small action. Together, they build a new habit. Awareness. Action. Instead of the old habit, discomfort. Escape. And once you replace that habit, your life changes. Because procrastination is not a curse. It is a loop. And loops can be rewritten. Step 9. End the day with one win. Rebuild your self-trust. Procrastination destroys one thing more than anything else. Self-trust. Every time you say, I will do it, and you don't, a small crack appears in your confidence. At first, it's tiny. But after months and years, it becomes a big crack. And one day you look at yourself and think, I don't trust myself anymore. That is dangerous, because when you don't trust yourself, you stop dreaming big. So how do we rebuild self-trust? Very simple. You end every single day with at least one completed win. Not a big win, not something dramatic, just one clear finished action. Imagine a factory machine. If that machine runs the whole day but produces nothing, what happens? The factory loses trust in that machine. It becomes useless, even if it was running for hours. Now imagine another machine. It runs for a short time, but produces one finished product, one completed item. Now that machine has value. It proves it works. Your brain works the same way. If your day is full of activity but no completion, your brain feels, nothing was finished, nothing moved. But if you complete even one small task, your brain registers, something was built, something moved forward. That small completion is like producing one finished product in the factory. It proves capability. Think about a scoreboard in a game. If the scoreboard shows 0 at the end of the day, even if the team tried hard, it feels like loss. But if the scoreboard shows even 1 point, the game feels different. Momentum begins. Energy changes. Confidence increases. Ending your day with one win is like putting 1 point on the scoreboard. It tells your mind, I am not stuck. I am progressing. I am capable. Now imagine a calendar. If every day you put a small check mark because you completed one thing, even something tiny. That calendar slowly fills with proof. Proof that you act. Proof that you finish. Proof that you are building something. Over time, that calendar becomes stronger than motivation because it shows evidence, and evidence builds belief, and belief builds discipline. That is why one small win before sleep is powerful. It's not about the size of the action. It's about sending a message to your brain. I complete things. And when your brain starts believing that message daily, procrastination weakens automatically. Because now your identity becomes, I am someone who finishes the day with progress, even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if no one sees it. That one win is rebuilding your self-trust one day at a time. When you complete something at night, your brain releases a sense of achievement. That small achievement builds confidence. Confidence reduces resistance tomorrow. Resistance reduction increases action. Action builds momentum. Momentum destroys procrastination. That is the chain. So here is your rule. No 0 days. Even if the day was terrible, even if you failed all day, even if you felt lazy, before sleeping, ask, what is one small win I can complete right now? Do it. Cross it out. Sleep peacefully. This is how you slowly rebuild your inner strength. One win at a time. Step 10. Visualize. See it finished before it exists. Now we go to something powerful and emotional. Because procrastination is not only logical, it is emotional. Sometimes you delay because the goal feels too far, too unclear, too uncertain. So your brain chooses comfort instead. Visualization changes that. Your brain does not fully separate imagination from reality. When you deeply imagine something, your brain reacts as if it is real. So when you visualize your finished goal, your brain starts believing it is possible. And when something feels possible, action becomes easier. Imagine a building. Before a single brick is placed, before cement is poured, before workers even arrive, the building already exists, not physically, but in a blueprint. Engineers don't start randomly. They don't say, let's just place bricks and see what happens. No. They first see the finished structure on paper, every wall, every floor, every window, every detail. The building is clear in the mind before it is real in the world. And because the vision is clear, the construction becomes possible. Now imagine if there was no blueprint. Workers would be confused. Materials would be wasted. Progress would be slow. Mistakes would increase. That is what happens when you don't visualize your goals. You try to build your life without a mental blueprint. Visualization is your blueprint. When you close your eyes and see the project finished, the exam passed, the body transformed, the business running, the confident version of yourself standing tall, you are creating the blueprint. Your brain begins to understand what it is building. And when the brain understands the destination, it works differently. It becomes focused, it becomes intentional, it becomes directed. Without vision, effort feels heavy. With vision, effort feels meaningful. Just like workers build faster when they see the design, you act faster when you see your finished future clearly. So before you start your work, take 1 minute, see it done, feel it done. Stand inside the finished result in your imagination. Then start building, because nothing great is built twice. First, it is built in the mind. Then, it is built in reality. And when you learn to see it finished before it exists, you stop procrastinating. You start constructing. Visualization does 3 powerful things. 1, it reduces fear. 2, it increases belief. 3. It creates emotional motivation. Now let me give you a simple daily practice. Every morning before starting work, take 2 minutes. Close your eyes. See the task finished. See the project done. See the email sent. See the chapter completed. See yourself proud. Then open your eyes and ask, what is the first small step toward that picture? Now action becomes easier, because the brain has already seen the finish line. Procrastination grows when the future feels blurry. Visualization makes the future clear, and clear futures create strong action. Look at what you have built now. You shrink tasks. You focus on the next bite. You remove distractions. You use accountability. You forgive yourself fast. You track completion. You practice awareness. You do the next best thing. You end the day with a win. You visualize success. This is not a motivational speech. This is a complete system. And systems change identity. One day, if you follow this daily, you will wake up and realize, I am no longer someone who procrastinates. You will become someone who moves. And movement creates confidence. Confidence creates discipline. Discipline creates freedom. Step 11. Decide who you are. Change your identity, not just your habit. Procrastination is not just a behavior. It is often an identity. Some people don't just delay. They believe, I am a procrastinator. I am lazy. I always delay. This is just who I am. And once you believe something is who you are, you stop fighting it. Because identity controls behavior. If someone says, I am not a morning person, they won't wake up early. If someone says, I am bad at business, they won't take risks. If someone says, I always procrastinate, they will delay automatically. So the final level of destroying procrastination is this. Stop fighting the habit. Change the identity. Instead of saying, I am trying to stop procrastinating, say, I am becoming someone who acts. Small change in words, massive change in direction. Imagine a thermostat in a room. A thermostat does not work hard. It does not struggle. It does not shout. It simply has a set identity. If the thermostat is set to 22 degrees Celsius, what happens? If the room becomes cold, the heater turns on. If the room becomes too hot, the cooling starts. The system adjusts automatically. Why? Because the thermostat has a set standard. Now imagine your identity is like that thermostat. If your identity is, I am someone who procrastinates, then whenever discomfort appears, your system adjusts toward delay. It feels normal. It feels automatic. It feels like, this is just how I am. But if your identity becomes, I am someone who takes action, now everything changes. When you delay, it feels uncomfortable. When you avoid, it feels wrong. When you don't act, it feels out of character. Because your internal thermostat is set differently. You are not fighting behavior anymore. Your identity is pulling behavior upward, just like the thermostat pulls temperature back to its setting. Imagine two identical engines. One is programmed to shut down under pressure. The other is programmed to increase power under pressure. Same engine, different programming, different outcome. Identity is programming. If you program yourself as someone who avoids discomfort, your brain will always choose escape. If you program yourself as someone who moves under discomfort, your brain will begin adjusting automatically. This is why small repeated actions matter. Every time you act despite resistance, you are adjusting your internal setting. You are telling your system, this is who we are now. And slowly, procrastination stops being your default. Because your thermostat has changed. You are no longer trying to change a habit. You are changing the standard of who you believe you are. And once that standard rises, behavior follows. Always. Step 12. Raise the cost of inaction. Make delay painful. Right now, procrastination feels safe. When you delay, what happens? Nothing. No punishment, no consequence, no visible loss. So your brain says, it's okay. But here is the truth. There is a cost. You just don't feel it immediately. The cost is lost opportunities, lost confidence, lost time, lost growth, lost money, lost dreams. But because the cost is invisible, you ignore it. So we make it visible. You must connect procrastination to real pain. Imagine someone wants to improve their skills for a better job. They delay learning daily. Now imagine they calculate something. If I don't improve, I lose the chance to earn $1,000 more per month. That's $12,000 per year. That's $120,000 in 10 years. Suddenly delay feels expensive. Now imagine someone wants to get healthy. They delay exercise daily, but they imagine, if I keep delaying, in 5 years I may face serious health problems. Now delay feels dangerous. You now have small starts, next bite focus, distraction removal, external pressure, self-forgiveness, completion tracking, mindful awareness, next best action, daily wins, visualization, identity shift, cost of inaction. This is not just advice. This is a transformation system. If someone applies even half of this seriously for 30 days, they will not recognize themselves. Because procrastination is not a life sentence. It is a habit built from comfort and fear. And habits can be destroyed by structure and awareness. Silence is not weakness. It is strength under control. When you learn to pause, think, and speak wisely, your power grows quietly. In a noisy world, choose calm. Choose control. Choose silence. And watch how your life begins to change.